Hello everyone from Bead 326. This is a look at the medieval world, the way people throughout most of human history looked at the universe and their place in that universe. And at the center of everything they believed, and it's because in part this is where they happened to live, was the earth. And everything from their perspective revolved around the earth. So, the sun revolved around the earth. This made the universe, in their perspective, geocentric. So did the moon. And everything else that they could observe in what they called the heavenly orbs. Now, they also believed that the universe was a finite universe, limited in size and scope, and outside of this universe was another type of place. And that's where they believed heaven was located. So a finite universe with limitations in its size, and outside of that universe, that's where heaven was located. And it was geocentric because the earth was at the center. Now what we want to do is make a list of some of the reasons why this particular worldview was so influential and lasted for so long. So, one of the primary reasons people hung on to this for so long was tradition. Now, you can go back to the Greeks, and one of the most famous philosophers, Aristotle, he believed the universe was set up in this way. And so tradition was very powerful, very important. How do we know what is right? How do we know what we know? Well, in the Middle Ages, we rely on tradition to let us know what it is we should believe and how we should think. So that was very powerful. Number two, it appealed to human nature. Since this is where humans lived, it was only natural for them to believe that this was the center of the universe. So the technical term for this is anthropomorphic, which we don't need to dwell on here. But just remember that one of the reasons people looked at the universe this way is that it appealed to human nature. Now, here's the third reason. Third reason would be religious authority. So, in the Middle Ages, and we're primarily thinking of Europe here, the Roman Catholic Church was the dominant institution. It had a monopoly on most of education as well as worship. And this is how that institution, the church, argued that the universe was constructed. And so religious authority, a very powerful force, is one that supported this particular worldview. Here's a fourth reason. This might be the most powerful reason why. People for centuries, again throughout most of human history, believe that this is the way the universe operated because this is how it looks to our sense perception. So I like to ride a bike, and so I like to check and see which way the wind's going to be blowing, so I'm always looking at my phone before I ride, and then it'll tell me that, for example, this time of year in the east at maybe 6:38 a.m., what's going to happen is the sun is going to rise. And then tonight at perhaps about 8:38 or so in the west, the sun is going to set. Now, we know from our understanding of how the universe is actually set up, that's not what will be happening. Instead, the earth is moving, but we don't have the sense of that. So to this day, we still use those terms sunrise, sunset. So I don't think anybody's going to go out to the lake tonight and stop on the dam and take a look out west at 8:38 and say to their boyfriend or girlfriend, "My, isn't that a beautiful earth turn this evening?" I mean, if you do that, it's probably going to be your last date. So we still use a poetic way to refer to what's happening. We call it a sunrise and a sunset, when scientifically we know that isn't the case. So that's how powerful sense perception is. Now, as I've mentioned a couple of times, this worldview hangs on for a long, long time for these particular reasons. Imagine what it's going to be like when the first people come along and challenge the medieval worldview. And next, we're going to take a look at some of the primary figures in what came to be known as the scientific revolution.